When you purchase bulbs at the stores, they're always in packaging. And so today I'm going to look at the packages and see if we can learn some important information from the boxes of bulbs themselves. I'm going to start out with our old friend, the incandescent bulb. And this is a package in which you bought 4. They were probably on sale, is why I bought them. And here's another style of incandescent bulb I'm going to talk about. Okay, for the first thing you want to notice on a bulb package is, of course, how many watts it is. This is the old style incandescent, 100-watt bulb. But then the things we have not looked at so much in the past are things such as light output. A 100-watt incandescent bulb typically is about 1,500 to 1,600 lumens, and that's important when you compare that to other types of bulbs. Energy used, 100 watts for a 100-watt bulb, that makes sense. And this particular bulb, the incandescent, should last about 1,500 hours. Here is a newer style incandescent. They call it halogen incandescent. It's a more energy efficient model because it has halogen inside. Compare that to our other box. We say this has about 1,490 lumens. And so it is technically, they say, equivalent in wattage to that first bulb we looked at. Energy used, 72 watts. So it's a little bit more efficient than that 100-watt bulb with about the same amount of lumens. And this life, though, look at that. It's 1,000 hours, which is less than the 1,500 on our previous box. Now we're going to look at the boxes for some compact fluorescent bulbs. The labels have been changing quite a bit over the last few years, and frankly, sometimes you have to hunt a little bit when you're looking at the boxes for the information you want to find. Here we have 3 different sizes of CFLs. This is a 100-watt equivalent, and typically you're going to see that pretty well displayed. It's a CFL, you can tell by the package and the looks of it. A 100-watt equivalent, that means it has the same output pretty much as a 100-watt incandescent. This middle box is a 75-watt equivalent CFL, and this little guy is a 60-watt equivalent CFL. So they're all CFLs with the watt equivalency. But then, remember we saw some things on our incandescent boxes. We want to also look for comparable things here as well. This one, as we said, is a 100-watt equivalent, but this bulb only uses 23 watts of actual energy used. And that is one reason the CFLs have been used for many years as highly efficient bulbs, because they produce a lot of light for the same output as well. One thing I want to point out, while I'm on this side of the box as well, to me, I always pay attention to whether or not the Energy Star label is indicated on the box. Energy Star means that the Department of Energy has evaluated that particular bulb and done a evaluation and rating on that. Not all bulbs are Energy Star rating, but that is typically a good thing to find if you can find that. Here we're still on this 100-watt equivalent bulb, and the brightness or the lumens is about 1,600 lumens. If you remember our 100-watt bulb we looked at a little bit ago, it was about 1,500, so this shows us in terms of output, it is about the same as the incandescent that we looked at. Let's go to the 75-watt equivalent. You look a little closer, it's the equivalent of 75 watts, but this particular bulb uses 19 watts. And if you can look at that, it equals 75 watts of light. Lumens, you got to look a little bit closer. Sometimes you need a little glasses or magnifying glass to see that. This particular bulb has 1,100 lumens. That shows its brightness. And then jumping over to our 60-watt equivalent, it only uses 14 watts of power for that equivalent amount of light, which equals 800 lumens. So pretty much 1,600 lumens, 1,100 lumens, 800 lumens, that's the light output, very important. The last 3 bulbs I'm going to look at are LED bulbs, which are more efficient than even the CFLs we just visited. The first thing you'll see on these packages is the term LED, which stands for light emitting diode. If you make a trip around to many of the stores these days, especially the big box stores, you're going to be seeing a lot more bulbs on display of the LED style, LED type. And they are currently the most efficient bulbs you can buy. However, when you look at the packages, the information there is very important, and in fact, it maybe is even more important than those incandescent bulbs we used to buy. Let's start with this first box over here. This is an LED bulb, obviously. The brightness is 800 lumens. And remember, that is equivalent to about 60 watts of an incandescent light bulb. 800 lumens. Then you can also look down at the bottom of this front of the package, the lumens again, 800. Here's the wattage, and what this means is for 800 lumens, this bulb uses 8.5 watts of power. In other words, to get 60 watts of equivalent up here, it only takes 8.5, which means it's a very, very efficient light bulb. Finally, and probably the biggest thing we want to look at for LEDs is their estimated lifetime. This bulb, at least they say on the average based on testing, should last about 25,000 hours. And remember our incandescent, that was about 1,000 hours or 1,500 hours at the most. This lasts a much, much longer time, which makes LEDs a good choice for putting in fixtures where you may find them hard to get to. You want to put a bulb in today and not worry about it for many, many years, so the long life is a very important feature of this. That brings us to our last LED that we'll be looking at. This one is equivalent to a 90 watt incandescent floodlight. You can see that from the front of the package. It uses 20 watts for this bulb, which is equivalent light to a floodlight incandescent of 90 watts in size. Again, the bottom of this package shows the average life, 25,000 hours. Again, that's similar to the other LEDs we just looked at. The lumens is 1,000 lumens, which is equivalent to the 90 watt incandescent bulb. And I'm going to turn the box a little bit here to the chart. You'll see most of the time on the side of this as well. Some of the information is the same as on the front of the package. The lumens, 1,000 lumens we just mentioned. I do want to point out on this one though, this color of this light, when we talked about that before, the warm light being down towards this end of the scale, towards the 2700 end, and a cool wider light is on this end, maybe the 5000 like the other bulb. This particular bulb is kind of right in the middle, 3000 K, so it is a little, I call it bluer or whiter than the warm white, but not as stark white as that type of bulb would be. So this is the information you can find on this particular bulb as well. So all this information is on the package. Sometimes you have to kind of hunt around a little bit because it's not all in a convenient spot. But pay attention to the watts that it uses, the lumens of output, the life in particular, and then I would also add that the color is very important as well.